Hello everybody, welcome back to the Redmen TV. After Liverpool secured their first 3 points of the Arne Slot era, it wasn't always plain sailing, but it is very much a case of job done by the Reds on the road, away at Portman Road, Portman Park, it's not a place, against Ipswich Town of course. 2-0 final score, Diogo Jota and Mohamed Salah the goal scorers. Let me know what we're thinking, let me know what we made of the performance, what we made of the game overall. Does it really matter, or are we just made up to get those first 3 points of the season? I'll dive into the comments on the way. Anything you want to speak about, any questions you want to ask, any topics, any performances, any players, you name it. We've got 20 odd minutes together. Let's thrash it all out. Let's get it all out of our system and see what we think. And also another thing, Gravenberch, yes, man of the match according to SoCal Cyclops. And it's hard to argue with that, to be honest with you. I think that's a good place to sort of jump off from. A lot of the talk was about Ryan Gravenberch from the outset, but I think he stood up to the test. I think by and large his performance was in the round what Arne Slot would like to see. He wasn't really tested from a defensive standpoint, which I think is where the question marks lie, but when it comes to sort of breaking the lines, taking the ball in tight areas and allowing us to move forward, his interplay was really nice at times as well. The second half in particular, that midfield was really purring at times. It was really clicking. It felt like we got to grips with it. It felt like we found the right notes in which to play, because at times in the first half it was a little bit lacklustre for me. It was all a little bit a bit slow. I think Ipswich, to their credit, in the first half especially, really came out and really were at it and really sort of pressed us high, pressed us up the pitch and didn't allow us to play or get to grips with any of the football that we wanted. We didn't have the control that we might have wanted. We weren't able to dictate terms. But I think eventually Ipswich ran out of steam a little bit and we just took complete control from there on out. And just dominated the second half, didn't we? And I think as much as Ipswich did tire and maybe their foot came off the gas a bit, I think we went up a level or two and just they couldn't live with us, could they? Let's be honest. They just could not live with us. Javel Quansah was another, I guess he was a talking point. He wasn't for me up until the moment he came off at half time. Now we'll wait and see what that cause was and why he did come off at half time. I've seen some reports saying it wasn't injury related. I've seen others saying he had a muscle issue. I thought he played really well first half. I've seen a couple of people questioning that. I wasn't, and Nigel, this is absolutely spot on by the way, it was very much a game of two halves, but let's talk about Quansah. I thought he was really good. I think the first sort of big actions in the game were Ipswich related, actually, from an attacking point of view. And it was Quansah that was shutting them down. He had that big block tackle after Van Dijk played a pretty loose, sloppy pass into midfield. They won it high. And it was, I thought he was really good. Really, really good. I'll pop into our Discord chat. Milesy20 says the first half was a bit wasteful. A lot of crap final balls, but we picked it up second half big time. And he feels Ryan Gravenberch has shut up a lot of the hate, at least for today. Mo's return to form once again. You never walk alone. And Mo Salah, absolutely. I mean, it's opening day. It's opening day Mo all over again, isn't he? Just doing what he does. Assist and a goal to boot as well. And I think certainly in that first half when we weren't quite at it, I think he was the threat. He was the outballing behind. And once or twice it nearly paid dividends. That straight ball, we were trying to unleash him behind the defence. And he was never really offside at any point, but he just wasn't quite pinpoint accurate enough, that pass, or his touch just wasn't quite there. But again, in the second half, when we managed to sort of click and get into our rhythm, Ipswich had no response. They had no answer to us whatsoever. Let's dive back into the YouTube. William Samuel says, Gravenberch, man of the match for me. Mr. Chick Flick says, so is Grav going to have this DM role going forward? Certainly, I mean, from what we have at our disposal now, I think it's hard to suggest that he won't have, to be honest with you. I think Diane Butler says as well, did really well in number 6 role. It's hard to argue with that. I think with the current squad and the current options, he is the chosen one, quite clearly. And I think today was evidence as to why. I think a lot of what he does, a lot of the way he wants to play, suits that role, suits that stylistic fit in that 6, because it's not an out-and-out 6. It's not a destroyer. It's not a peak prime Fabinho. It's a very different way of playing it. And I think Gravenberch can do that. I still have reservations, doubts, when he is tasked more running the other way and it is more of a defensive effort as a collective. How does Gravenberch look then? That'd be where my question marks were. But for today, I think against the team who were, it's doing them a disservice to call Ipswich plucky, but that was a lot of what they were about today. They were very energetic. They fought for every corner. They fought tooth and nail for every ball.
They give away a lot of free kicks as well, and probably should have been down to 10 men in the first half for my money. But they didn't quite have the quality to match Liverpool, certainly not over the course of 90 minutes. So that would be where I'd have slight concerns about Gravenberch playing that role moving forwards. But again, for today, as an isolated performance goes, I thought he was boss. Absolutely boss. And A. Hurt in our Discord agrees. He says, Grav is a 6. You've moved me. Joe Nevitt there mentioning Diogo Jota. Amazing as always. And yet, once again, always that injury-free element with Diogo Jota. Just proves it. And it was interesting, the Jota stuff, actually, because misses that golden, glorious gilt-edged chance from the header, and then literally 90 seconds later finishes, like almost makes amends for it. It's very unlike Diogo Jota to miss chances like he did the first time around, so no great shock that when he gets the opportunity to make up for it, he finishes. Just Diogo Jota doing Diogo Jota things, ultimately, isn't it? So let's pop back. In fact, let's go into the Twitter chat and see what some people on there are saying. And it kind of follows the same thread what we've been talking about. Cryptico says, fantastic second half performance, could have been 5. And yeah, it's a good point, actually. We really did start carving Ipswich open at will, certainly towards the latter stages of the second half, and it felt like we could have been further clear. I think Luis Diaz once or twice should probably do better with that killer instinct, that final end product, but yeah, that is what it is. Up the Arne Slot rest, a lot of people are happy with Gravenberch and Sobbo, dominated that second half, says you'll never walk alone, calm. David Thomas says our long passes on another level today, good lord. Do you know what, I'm going to pick up on that thread actually, because I think it's a good point. We tried it a lot in the first half, as I referenced a moment ago, and it wasn't quite coming off. But second half, it felt like everything we tried in that sense was just on the money time and time again. There was a Van Dijk one to Salah, which actually provides Salah with his assist, if you like, for the goal. There's a couple of deflections along the way, so it might not be his assist, but whatever. In terms of getting Salah free, it was absolutely bang on it. And there was a Szoboszlai switch to the other side to Diaz, which was just a joke. It was in full flight almost, and he just pings it, best part of 50 yards, right on Diaz's toe. And the pass, probably the standout, the pick of the bunch, was Trent, inside ball, inside his man to Salah, and Salah lays it across to Jota, who does the rest. But the actual football and the build-up prior to that, even before Trent's pass, was a joy to behold. Liverpool were purring at that moment, absolutely purring. It felt like, I don't know whether we went up a notch, a level, or whether Arne Slot's words in the dressing room were ringing in the ears or what, but for whatever reason, for 10, 15 minutes there midway through the second half, Ipswich just couldn't live with us, absolutely couldn't live with us, which is, a joy to watch. There was loads of problems, lots of things to iron out, still not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but as, a 90 minutes of football go, certainly the second 40 odd, joy, absolutely loved it. 811YT says, Dan, Gravenberch was so good today, and shout outs to Slot and Konate. Well, the Konate thing's interesting. I've seen people a moment ago asking why we did introduce Konate at half time. As I say, at time tonight now, I'm just seeing if Arne Slot's talking about it. I don't know. Hopefully it isn't injury related. And Maverick S says Quansah was just a bit sloppy today. It's interesting, isn't it? I thought Quansah was really good. Really, really good. I said there was one or two really pivotal defensive blocks he made in the first half. And yeah, there was a moment where he got turned maybe a little bit too easily. But I think by and large, I thought he was good. I really do. It would shock me if that substitution was performance related. Now, if it was sort of tactical and system related, maybe that would make a bit more sense. Maybe we wanted to go a bit more man for man marking, and Konate's the man for that job. I'm not sure. But if Arne Slot has seen something he didn't like from Joel Quansah's first 45 minutes there and decided to take him off because of it, I would be a little bit surprised. I can't lie to you. Nick T says Konate really came on and shored up the defence. Also passed well at the back. Yeah, and you know what? Maverick S. Konate played really, really well. Made a point today. Maybe that's it. Maybe it was just he felt like Konate was the better fit for that game at half time. And if that is the case, as much as I would be surprised because it's Slot making big calls, it's kind of Slot admitting at half time that he might have got it wrong. To make such a big, bold move, replacing one of your centre halves at half time if there is no injury problem, that's a good old admittance from Arne, that saying, you know what, yeah, let's change this. And it worked, didn't it? Let's be honest. I'll dive back into the Twitter comments if I can for a moment. Dean Foley says really good stuff that second half after a shaky first. Yeah, absolutely agree with you on that. Couldn't get enough of those passes after we clicked. If not for Salah, Gravenberch would be my pick for man of the match. Here's hoping this is a sign we're in good hands. Yeah, Sam Craddock says much better second half. When we get it right, we look great. Ipswich put up a good account of themselves, and if they can keep playing like that, it does surprise a lot of the league. I agree with you there, absolutely. I think they did put up a good fight for large parts of that. Just ran out of steam a little bit second half. Their running out of steam kind of coincided with us actually starting to get things right, and that was a perfect storm from Liverpool point of view, wasn't it? The minute we started to click, the minute we started to really work and really purr, and that sort of fine-tuned machine started to look like an actual thing, Ipswich just started to flounder a little bit, and it did feel as though they could have been put to the sword at any given moment. And maybe if you were a little bit more ruthless, a little bit more clinical, it could have been 3, 4, possibly even 5, but it wasn't to be. And you know what, credit to Ipswich again. We're not going to spend too long crediting Ipswich, of course, on this, because it's not why we're here. And they did, kind of, Steve, yeah, I agree. Having said that, even at the end, they were still going at it, weren't they? They had the big chance later on when Alisson has to make a save. They never give up, Ipswich, and if they can carry that through the entire season, they give themselves more than a fighting chance. Shaggy Fowler says Trent's pass to Mo for Diogo's goal was brilliant. Yeah, it absolutely was. To have the vision to pull off that pass, and then the ability with which to actually complete it is just remarkable. Like, how many footballers in world football possess that ability? There are some. There are a handful, but Trent's right in amongst them. Like I say, to actually think, okay, I can execute that, and then to do it, dear me. Dear me. Ike Kenneth says, Diaz is an enigma. Good on the ball, but sometimes makes appalling decisions. Yeah, I think it was a slightly frustrating performance from Diaz. I'm not going to spend too long dwelling on the negatives. I've got the player ranking show to come to do that potentially. And you know what? And the very next comment I've seen is this. So, talk about polarising opinion. Diaz needs to be starting. How come we didn't compliment his 2 goals that Diaz got the game before this? Hypocrisy referencing the Sevilla game. Yeah. Do you know what? I thought Diaz was good for large parts of that. I think a lot of what he did and a lot of what contributed was good in terms of his offering of width. He always wanted the ball. There was that moment in the first half where he takes a lovely touch, cuts inside 2 men and then blazes over, which is kind of a microcosm of the ever problem with Luis Diaz, isn't it? He's got loads and loads of ability, loads and loads of qualities, but then when it comes to that final moment, that final decision, a little bit all too often it's left wanting, and it was once or twice today. Was it before it went 1-0 or as it was 1-0, he had that gilt-edged chance, like one-on-one with a keeper, more or less, and he chose to dink it, but he never dinked it. He whacked it over the bar from the best part of 4 yards, something like that. A little bit frustrating. But Steve makes a good point as well, and that may well be something as to why we managed to really get to grips with the game and just Ipswich ran out of steam. You might be right. I seen somebody a moment ago ask me how the handball situation came to pass and why that's a thing. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. The fact the referee's given that decision means he's clearly seen the handball, because otherwise why give the free kick? So if you've seen Wes Burns scoop the ball beyond Diogo Jota and yet you've saw fit not to book him for that, inexplicable to me. I have no idea. I'd love to be able to help you, and he'd already been booked, of course, for quite a nasty, naughty foul. Alexis McAllister just scraped down the back of his Achilles a little bit, and the problem with that foul for me is a yellow card. It's never a red, by the way, but it is a yellow card. It's the fact he knows what he's doing. McAllister, the ball's not even around, really. The ball's gone. I think McAllister's laid it off already. And Wes Burns just leave ones on it. It's naughty. It's not good. Mr. Chick Flick asks, are you shocked Gomez never travelled with a squad? Yeah, of course. I think so. LJ Smith, sorry with the update. He said the Quansah one was tactical. Wow, interesting. Okay. Maverick S says that was a 100 handball. And you know what? The VAR point is a good point, but it's also not applicable because it would have only been a yellow card. Stupid rule, I know, but it would have been a second yellow, so you can't send him off for that, which again is stupid, silly, crazy. But referees, VAR officials, what are you going to do? I'll pick up on this again. He said it was tactical. Took Quansah off of Ibu, tactical. Okay. That's so interesting. I'd love to. I have to obviously watch the game back and find out more as to why that is the case. I wonder if he explained any more detail than that, but I'm glad it's not injury related, first and foremost. And on the Joe Gomez note as well, that's not injury related either. That could potentially be transfer related. From what we understand at the moment, obviously the game's gone on, so we don't know fully what's happened, but he's had a grown-up conversation with Arne Slot, and it's been decided that he won't be sort of involved from here on out, it looks like, certainly not this weekend, and I think Joe Gomez has taken it upon himself to maybe step away from the squad and possibly pursue a transfer away from the club, which is a shame. It will be a shame, because I think from a Liverpool point of view, having someone of Joe Gomez's quality and perhaps more importantly versatility around the squad was a real winner, because he plays right back, centre back, left back. But for his point of view, I can understand why he may look at the chances or the likelihood of playing regular first team footy. And if he said this to Arne Slot and Slot's gone, you're my third choice right back, you're my fourth choice centre half, and you're my third choice left back, Gomez might look at that and go, not for me. Not anymore, anyway. And listen, what can you do? Kind of this, Seth, as well. If you love someone, set them free. Yeah, I'm with you. Truth in plain sight. Go into Newcastle, go on to well. So yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, and Baloo, I believe so, mate. I've seen Arne Slot at the corner of my eye speaking. Obviously, I can't hear him. But he said it was tactical. Yeah, fascinating. Really and it's so interesting because obviously a lot of what's been credited with Quansah having, which Konate doesn't have, has been that ability to carry the ball forwards, his distribution, his eye for a pass, his speed of thought when playing those passes as well. But clearly, it might be a defensive thing. I don't think Quansah was having too bad a day defensively, though. I must admit, I don't think he was struggling that heavily. I really don't. I thought he was okay. And like I say, the first defensive action Liverpool were required to do was Joel Quansah, and he was actually bailing out his mate, Virgil van Dijk, who played a terrible ball into midfield. Ipswich won it high, half a chance for Ipswich, shot, and Quansah's the man getting across to block it. So I don't think he was poor by any stretch. I really don't. Due to losing Jules with a striker, he wanted Ebert. As he said that, he might have said that. And that would make sense. I mentioned earlier on, if it was that one-on-one defensive quality and strength, that extra toughness back there he wanted maybe. Because I think Konate has just about got the edge on Quansah when it comes to that. But anyway, let's dive back into... Yeah, okay, I'm back in the Discord now. Who said this? Joe Nevis has confirmed. Yeah, okay, he did confirm we lost too many duels needing Ebert. If he said exactly that, it's really boss. Because for a long time, since Slot arrived, I've wondered whether he'll be one just to... He says it how it is, doesn't he? He's very straight talking. And if he's come out post-match and said, Joel Quansah lost too many duels, that in itself is very honest. Like, very, very honest. Like, how often would and Baloo's confirming here as well, how often would a manager sugarcoat it to protect the player, or maybe not name names, or just say, I felt like we need to be more vague about it, is what I'm trying to say. But not Arne. Not Arne. Okay, last few comments now. Let's dive back into the Twitter. We'll start to wrap up because I've got a player ranking show to do. Let's see what people over on Twitter are saying. Gavin Dixon, Gravenberch was showing real class in that second half. Still work to do to get the team firing all cylinders, but the patterns are there. We 100% agree with that. Def the Kid. Okay, great day, great result, but I would have liked to see Nunes come on. Yeah, potentially quite telling that we didn't see Darwin, but yeah, who knows. Love the away kit. That's good. Some kit talk there. Aaron Binning, first half wasn't the strongest, but kicked right into gear in the second. Some of the plays in that game were insane. Long may it continue, and he finishes it with Slots happening. Very nice. Daniel Morrison, the first half was worrying, and it could have been a different game if Ipswich had scored early. Ipswich, quite literally. But we were wondering wonderful in the second half, rather, and Trent was insane. We must keep him. Yeah, I mean, we absolutely must keep Trent. That's not even a conversation piece, is it? Let's be fair. It's just he is the priority number one when it comes to new contracts for me. Mo Salah, once again today. I mean, what's that? 9 goals on opening day now for Mo Salah. A goal and assist in every one since he became a Liverpool player. Like, just a freak of nature. The man is just inevitable, and an 8th season wonder would appear to be upon us. However, his contract situation, his contract renewal, as important as that is, does fall below Trent Alexander-Arnold to me, and likewise Virgil van Dijk, because Trent's got the best years of his football life ahead of him and is just an insanely good footballer. So yeah, I'm not going to answer, Iggy, I love you to pieces, mate, but I'm not going to answer transfer news right now. I've just touched on contracts. I'm not going to do transfer stuff, and I do love you, but I do apologise. Yeah, the Slot was being Dutch honest in that response. I ain't mad at it. I love the honesty. Yeah, me and you both. And you know what, Rob? I've seen a couple of people pick up on this. Slot not going over the away end. And Chloe's in the away end, so she might have her own take on that. But it feels as though Arne Slot is just going about his business at the moment. All the the relationship building with the fans, all of that connection, all of that, all the stuff we loved Jurgen Klopp for eventually, all that bonding, if you like, those shows of emotions, the emotiveness, that can all wait a little bit. It feels to me like Arne Slot just wants to get his feet under the table, get Liverpool ticking, get Liverpool moving in the right direction, and get us actually winning games of football, the fundamentals of what it is to be a good footy manager, before he starts all the romanticising of actually being Liverpool manager. I think he might have both. I think he might have both strings to his bow. But for me, this, Nick, is exactly what I'm saying. I've just seen your comment. That's where he's at. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. I hope in time he does start being, you know, the fun, the person we can relate to, the bond, the love can come. But for now, just win games of footy, but deal with the rest later. So yeah, all business. All business is Arne Slot. And today, yeah, it's a good point, Nigel. And today it was business. It was business well done. And it was 3 points for the Reds. I'll quickly start to wrap up because I've been here a while now and I've got one more show to do before I call it a day. Baloo, thanks very much as well, mate. I appreciate the feedback. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the long stream. It is here to stay, whether you like it or not, to be honest with you. Gravenberch is moved. Sorry, a beer is moved by Gravenberch. Gravenberch might be moved by a beer. Who knows? I like Quansah. He just needs to be more physical. Use his size like Konate. It's interesting that I thought much of last season there were no sort of indications. There were no signs that Quansah was lacking, or if he was shy when it came to the battle. I've not really seen it. And today there was moments. Perhaps he came out second best once or twice, but Konate, the back end of last season, one of the biggest problems he had, away from what he lacks in terms of the ball at his feet, which is probably the biggest criticism that's levelled at him, Konate was actually losing duels. Like the Merseyside derby, he got bullied by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Let's have it right. I mean, I don't like saying it because it's Everton, and you know we don't like to remember those games, but he did. Whereas Quansah was winning his battles, was winning those one-on-one fights time and time again. So yeah, let's hope it isn't a sign of things to come when it comes to Jarell, because he is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Jaitita says Quansah is and will be a great player, but that's why you have a bench. Yeah, and it worked, is the point. Like, it doesn't really matter what we all think or say on Quansah, or the Konate switch for that matter, but he made a change at half-time. Liverpool got better in the second half. Done. That's enough for me. That's enough for me. However it came about, however it happened, that's the top and bottom of it. I'll quickly dive back into the Discord to see what's going on in there, if there's anything worth speaking about, or we just chatting nonsense. And John P with an interesting point. I believe that's the first 90 for Grav in the Prem. Wow. New position, new man. Look at that. Stephen Ryder, I haven't said it yet, mate. I haven't said it, and I'm not going to. I will be wrapping up this show before I use the phrase you just wrote right there. So I think that's about it for the fan reaction show, fan interactive, whatever you want to call it. Liverpool 2, Ipswich Town 0. Start as you mean to go on. Liverpool Football Club. It's all very good. It's all very positive. Just to sort of round off, really good performance by and large. Mo Salah continues to do Mo Salah things. Diogo Jota continues to do Diogo Jota things as well. All is well. If we just forget that first 45 minutes and maybe never play like that again, we can all move on with our lives and we can all be very, very optimistic about what is to come. Gravenberch was boss, probably my man of the match for what it's worth as well. That is it for this section of the post-game show. I'm going to wander over to the board now and do player rankings with you guys. So please stick around because I need your help. Thanks very much for getting involved as ever. Take care. Up the Reds.